This NHL prospect refused to play for this team and has now been traded. The Philadelphia Flyers and Anaheim Ducks made a blockbuster trade, sending Cutter Gauthier to Anaheim for Jamie Drysdale and a second-round pick. Now, both fan bases seem very confused by this move, so let me explain why this is a big deal and why both teams will probably be better off in the end. First, let's start with the Flyers and Gauthier. Gauthier was selected 5th overall by the Flyers in the 2022 draft. Since then, he's been widely considered one of the best prospects coming into the NHL and one of the most fun players to watch during this year's World Juniors, and rightfully so. Cutter is a 6'3", high-skilled talent with a high-end shot. In the World Juniors this year, he logged 2 goals and 10 assists in 7 games, helping Team USA win the gold at the tournament. His game is at a high level right now, and I think a lot of people were excited to see him join this Philadelphia team, who's been surprisingly good this year. But the problem is that he won't play for the Flyers. Cutter told the Flyers organization that he didn't want to sign with them, and in a recent presser, Danny Briere confirmed this with the media. Quote, "It was a long time coming. It has been going on for a while. We tried to give him space. We tried to get in touch with him many times. They just would not communicate. At some point, we have to make a decision. We thought with what happened a few days ago, this was our time to probably get the highest value." Apparently, they had been going back and forth with Gauthier about signing, and his camp just was not communicating. On draft night, Cutter told the organization he wanted to be a Flyer, but since then, his line of communication with the organization has just been shaky at best. After this year's World Juniors, though, the Flyers got confirmation that he was not going to sign with the organization, so they jumped at an opportunity to sell him at his highest value, which makes sense for any NHL organization. As a Flyers fan, I get your frustration. You are excited to have some very young, talented forwards coming up into your system, with Cutter and now Matvei Michkov eventually coming into your organization as well, but at least you received a nice package back for this prospect. Jamie Drysdale is a promising young player, and even though he's had a little bit of injury history, I still believe he will help this Flyers team more than you might think. For the Anaheim Ducks, I actually think that they were the ones who won this trade a little bit more than the Flyers. This team is incredibly young and has some very promising centers on their roster with Zegras, McTavish, and Carlson, and Cutter can now be placed into their system as a winger and really develop nicely alongside some of these talented players. Sure, if you're a fan of Anaheim, moving on from Drysdale is tough, but the Ducks have some very promising defensemen as well. Mintnyakov has been a big surprise for them this season, and a few other guys like Leno and Zellweger should be able to step up for them in the future as well. So I think they needed a winger more than a defenseman right now and should be able to replace Drysdale with someone else in the future. Plus, are you really going to pass up on an opportunity to get a guy like Cutter? No. But I also want to add that I think the Flyers won this trade as well given the situation. Cutter clearly wasn't going to sign with them, so they needed to act on the scenario and get compensation while his stock was at its highest. It's tough to see these young players not want to stay with an organization and force their way out, but I guess that's just the reality of the situation right now. It's unfortunate that things went down like this, but let's hear from you guys. How do you feel about this entire trade? Which team do you think made the better move here in the end? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next one.